গিরিবরধারী যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যমুনা তীর বনচারী যমুনা তীর বনচারী জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে জয় রাধা গিরিধারী শ্রী রাধে জয় জগন্নাথ জয় বলদেব জয় সুভদ্রা জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় জয় গুরুদেব জয় জয় গুরুদেব নিতাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল হরে কৃষ্ণ.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much for so nicely singing the Jai Radha Madhava.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So I'm not sure, like I think this is an old one. I think Abhash Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, it is from page 61 I'm starting. I have got the books before me. So
you got the, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just put it for the others' benefit as well.
Okay. It is page 61 in the new edition.
This chapter 3, is it? Or chapter 4?
No, chapter 4, Prabhuji.
Chapter 4, yeah.
How shall I serve you? And it is in the just beginning of the heading is there, the circumambulation of Sri Brajamandal.
Yeah, here, is it?
After that also. Please go ahead. Yes. No, just 1 second. Before that, just 1 second.
Yeah, here?
No, sorry.
Here is it?
No,
yeah.
Please calm down a bit, I think.
Calm down, yeah. I think it's all done. I think yesterday you...
And the heading is there at the top. There is a heading, circumambulation of Sri Brajamandal. I think, yes, please go on.
Yeah, I think yesterday, you're reading this one. Modern printing. Bagh Bazaar, yeah. For Parikrama all over, yeah.
Yes, after that, just after that. We'll find the heading there.
Harmonist? Yeah.
Yes, that is circumambulation of Sri Brajamandal.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. His Grace, circumambulation of Sri Brajamandal. His Grace, His Divine Grace, Paramahansa Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, the spiritual head of Madhya Gauriya Vaishnava community following Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has been pleased to invite the cooperation of all persons of every nationality, irrespective of caste, creed, color, age, or sex, in the devotional function of circumambulation of the holy sphere of Braja in the footsteps of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who exhibited the Leela of performing circumambulation of Sri Brajamandal during the winter of 1514 AD. When Oboy had heard from the members of the Allahabad Gauriya Math about the Parikrama, he had been fully occupied with local Prayag pharmacy business and traveling to secure new accounts, but he had calculated how he could join at least for a day or two, and he had fixed his mind on again obtaining darshan of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Srila Prabhupada says, I was not initiated at the time of the Parikrama, but I had very good admiration for these Gauriya people. They were very kind to me, so I thought, what are these people doing in this Parikrama? Let me go so I can meet them at Koshi. The Parikrama party traveled with efficient organization. An advance group bringing all the beddings and tents would go ahead in the next day's location, where they would make camp and set up the kitchen. Meanwhile, the main party bearing the deity of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and accompanied by Kirtana singers would visit the places of Lord Krishna's pastimes and in the evening arrive in camp. The camp was divided into sections and arranged in a semicircle, and pilgrims were assigned to a particular section for night. In the center were the quarters of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta and the deity of Lord Chaitanya, and close by the tents of the sannyasis. There were separate camps for ladies and men. Married couples did not stay together. There was also a volunteer corps of guards who stayed up all night, patrolling the area. At night, the camp, with its hundreds of tents and gas lights and campfires, resembled a small town, and local people would come to see, astonished at the arrangements. In the evening, everyone would gather to hear a discourse by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. The pilgrims would rise very early each morning and chant Hare Krishna together. Then, carrying the deity of Sri Chaitanya, they would set out in procession, Kirtana groups of the police band, the lead horse, the flag bearers, and all the pilgrims. They traveled to the holy places, the birthplace of Lord Krishna, the place where Lord Krishna slew Kamsa, the Adikeshava temple, Radhakunda, Shamakunda, and many others. Roja, I'm stopping here.
Okay, Prabhu. Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we'll continue with the, So before, again, I just wish to thank Shama Mataji and all the rest of Shabash Prabhu and others for giving me this, engaging me in this, so that I can purify myself. That I think I am benefiting most by this. So thank you so much for kindly engaging me in this service. So I'll just chant the prayer. Om apavitro pavitro va sarvavastham gatopi va yasmaret pundarikaksham sa bahya abhyantaram suchihi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Shri Gurum Dina Taranam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Nama Pankaja Nabhaya Nama Pankaja Maline Nama Pankaja Netraya Namaste Pankajangreye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you once again, everyone, for kindly joining this Srimad Bhagavatam session in the morning. So again, just to remind myself, whatever little bit we are able to utter and little bit we are able to contemplate, it's only thanks to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, without whose contributions we would not have even heard of the scriptures, let alone even opening the pages of the scriptures. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and many, many others, great scriptures which He has translated. So before going ahead, let me offer my prayers to my spiritual master, Guru Gauram Giri Sheshtam Yo Vishram Bhena Sevate Madhavam Tulasi Rama Krishna Kirtim Kiram Swe Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutle Srimate Bhakti Vishnava Madhav Swami Ti Ramine. Hare Krishna. So before going ahead, so let us briefly see the various events which the devotees have covered so nicely in the previous sessions. So in the current chapter, the previous chapter, the devotees covered how Maharaja Prithu was very much angry with Mother Earth, and it's all started off with Vidura's eagerness to learn more about Maharaja Prithu's pastimes. And then Maitreya Muni continues saying how the citizens were starving due to a lack of food grains. Even after King Prithu took over, still the troubles were not fully extinguished. And so the king was very much angry at Mother Earth. And we saw how Mother Earth begs forgiveness, but still King Prithu is very, very angry. He threatens to kill her. And Mother Earth finally surrenders. And we see a very beautiful prayers to Maharaja Prithu, which is very, very enlightening prayers. So where it's described that how the Lord can expand without being affected. He can expand into the entire material universe. He can expand into all the living entities, and he can basically be the key which actually triggers this entire creation. But still, he is not affected at all. And then we see that how she praises him as a supreme protector and shelter. And she says, "I have come to you for shelter, so certainly you should not harm me." And she also says how it's very difficult to understand the Lord's inconceivable potencies and activities. Again, today we'll see that with using our material mind and senses, material intelligence and senses, it's very, very difficult to understand the Lord's inconceivable potencies and activities. And how He is the cause of all causes. So whatever we see happening today, tomorrow, and the future, it's all that He is the supreme cause. And then she very nicely, she recalls the Lord's Varaha incarnation, where He personally protected the earth. So as if she's reminding him that you personally protected me, so similarly you should continue to protect me. And then she continues, of course the Lord is already aware, but just for our benefit, she explains that how nicely we can extract the earth's resources without harming, in a very balanced way. So she says, without following the instructions of the Acharyas, there's no way we can be successful either in this life or in the next. Manufacturing our own methods is useless, as the devotees in the previous sessions are covered. We cannot manufacture our own methods. And she also describes the effects of exploitation. Like anybody who is not a devotee, a non-devotee basically, who is not in Krishna consciousness, he or she will only exploit, because we don't have the devotion to the Lord. We are not in the right consciousness. So obviously we'll tend to exploit the material resources. That is over exploitation. And then she describes the right technique in a sustainable way, how we can extract the earth's resources. And she also advises King Prithu how the rainfall, how it need not be wasted. He can build reservoirs and he can make the earth's surface level so that the rainfall continues to remain on the earth. And then she also describes a technique: suitable calf, pot, and milkman. Again, she says the milkman would be the trained person who is trained under with the techniques, so that he can very intelligently extract the resources. And the suitable calf, we can take it as in a very sustainable way. We are not we are not over exploiting the mother nature. And the pot, we should be qualified. The pot is actually the qualification what is there to exploit the resource, to extract the resources, not exploit. And first, to set an example, King Prithu Maharaj, he employs Swayambhuva Manu, his own ancestor. He employs him to extract the herbs and grains. That is the first. He basically sets the example for others, how others can do the similar thing to extract the resources. And then we see the sages who do the next one by extracting the knowledge from Mother Nature, from Mother Earth, via the medium of Brihaspati. So we'll see that verse. So let's come here. Yeah. So I'll just chant this verse. Rishayo duduhur devim indriyesh atha sattama vatsam brihaspatim kritva payas chandomayam shuchi. Anybody else wants to kindly chant?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Rishayo dudhur devim indriyeshu ato sattama vatsam brihaspatim krutva payas chandomayam shuchi.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Dishayo duduhur devim indriyeshu atha sattam vatsham brihaspatim kritva vayasho chandomayam shuchi.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Vishayo duduhur devim indriyeshvatha sattam vatsham brihaspatim kritva payas chandamayam shuchi.
Thank you, Mataji. And one of the devotees read the. Yeah, do you want to read the transport word to word meanings? Yeah.
Rishaya, the great sages, Duduhu, milk, Devim, the earth, Indriyeshu, in the senses, Atha, then, Sattama, O Vidura, Vatsam, the calf, Brihaspatim, the sage Brihaspati, Pritva, making, Paya, milk, Chandha Mayam, the form of the Vedic hymns, Suchi, pure.
Thank you. And one of the devotees read the translation, please.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All the great sages transformed Brihaspati into a cup and making the senses into a pot. They milked all kinds of Vedic knowledge to purify words, mind and hearing. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
The purport. Any other devotee? Can you read? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Brihaspati is the priest of the heavenly planets. Vedic knowledge was received in logical order by the great sages through Brihaspati for the benefit of human society, not only on this planet, but throughout the universes. In other words, The Vedic knowledge is considered one of the necessities for human society. If human society remains satisfied simply by taking grains from the planet Earth, as well as other necessities for maintaining the body, society will not be sufficiently prosperous. Humanity must have food for the mind and ear, as well as for the purpose of vibration. As far as transcendental vibrations are concerned, the essence of all Vedic knowledge is the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In Kali Yuga, this Vedic Mahamantra is chanted regularly and heard regularly by the devotional process of Shravanam Kirtanam will purify all societies, and thus humanity will be happy both materially and spiritually. Thank you.
So such a nice purport. It's actually an ocean. The ocean he has reduced to a little drop, Srila Prabhupada, with his expertise. All the great sages transformed Brihaspati into a calf, and making the senses into a pot, they milked all kinds of Vedic knowledge to purify words, mind, and hearing. Thank you. Yeah. So again, so nicely we see how Swayambhuva Manu first he extracts the grains, and next we see the rishis extracting the knowledge. So we're reminded of that teaching a man to fish. Give a man to, I'm not to encourage fish eating, but they say, no, give a man a fish, he can eat it for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, then you have trained him for a lifetime. Huh? So initially, just because the citizens are in an emergency situation, immediately he gives them the food grains, but then he helps the sages to extract knowledge so that they can maintain their life ongoing without, very independently, they can maintain their life, and then ultimately get the ultimate success. So this obviously the rishis. So he employs the rishis for this purpose. No? So initially he set the example by using Swayambhuva Manu to provide for the food grains for the people. Now he's employing the great rishis, the sages, because they are being the main recipients and transmitters of knowledge in the Vedic tradition. They are the ones who are the recipients and transmitters of knowledge. And we see Brihaspati. They employ Brihaspati as the calf. So Brihaspati, again, because he's a preceptor of the demigods. Again, and I was just looking up this Britannica, what they say about Brihaspati. And it is said, he is the lord of speech, the preceptor of the gods, master of sacred wisdom, charms, hymns, and rites, and the sage counselor of Indra in his war against the Asuras. So he is the the supreme Brahmana. No? Even in the Bhagavatam, he says this. Even the Bhagavad Gita, he says, what does he say? Yeah. Can you read this verse? Yeah.
Purodhasam cha mukhyam mam buddhi partha brihaspatim senaninam aham skandaha sarasamasmi sagaraha.
So what does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita?
Oh, of priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief, Brihaspati.
Yeah.
Of generals, I am Kartikeya, and of bodies of water, I am Krishna.
So Krishna says Brihaspati represents him. No? Almost like a Shaktiavesh avatar. No? Because Krishna's intelligence is represented in Brihaspati. He is the most intelligent. So and this most intelligent person, they have employed to extract Vedic knowledge. Again, the fourth chapter also, we see that. Tat vidri pranipatena pari prashnena sevaya upadekshayanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. So again they say, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. So he's employed the right person. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. And when they do that, the self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you. Because that's currently they're wanting to extract knowledge. So they employed the rightly trained person who can do that, who can extract the knowledge. And how do they do it? Again, they says, their senses they are converted into a pot. Their senses. Because only when they control the senses, they can receive knowledge. Even yesterday, Prabhuji was very nicely saying, Jai Srila Prabhu. So unless this sense gratification we are doing, actually, we are benefiting ourselves. It's not that we are doing a favor to others. By controlling our senses, we are actually able to receive the right knowledge. Again, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said. Sorry. Can one of the devotees chant this verse?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can chant it.
Yeah.
Can you see the Sanskrit part, Prabhuji? That is
Oh, yeah, Sanskrit, yes, sir. Yeah.
Drabba yagyastapo yagya yogo yagyastatha pare shraddha yogena yagyascha yatayo samshita brata.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
And the translation as well, Prabhu. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Having accepted strict vows, some became enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, sir, either of to achieve success, you have to accept some strict vows. No, Dhrida Vrata, he says. No, you have to accept some strict vows, and you have to do some sacrifice. To get something, you have to give up something. No, so if you give up a sense gratification, and then automatically, if you accept the Dhrida Vrata in the path of getting that knowledge, then automatically we can advance in transcendental knowledge. So even here we see the senses were employed as a pot. And what is the ultimate purpose? Again, very nicely in the verse they say, to purify the mind and the senses, no? To purify all our life, mind and senses. Again in the Bhagavad Gita also, this verse it says this. Yeah. Yeah. Can one of the devotees read this verse? Tushya Chaitanya Prabhu.
Yeah. Kayena manusha buddhya kalevi indriyoirapi yogina karma kurvanti sangam taktva atma shuddhai. Hare Krishna.
Translation as well, Prabhu. Yeah.
The yogis abandoning attachment act with body, mind and intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification.
Thank you. So again, in this verse also we have said how they extracted the knowledge mainly for the purpose of purification, not for wallowing in the same place. Again, in the 16th chapter also, when describing the qualities of the divine persons, so it is said, purification and acquisition of Vedic knowledge. These are the characteristics of the person in the divine nature. No, it is said in the. It's a long verse, so we'll just see the pure main things in the Abhayam. That is like fearlessness, no? Like Abhaya Charana Charnaravinda, no? That is Srila Prabhupada, no? And purification of one's existence and jnana. Jnana is knowledge. No? Knowledge, again, the translation Prabhupada says here. Purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge. These are the things which actually benefit us. So we see another example, if people can recall how they employed a calf to acquire knowledge. Can anyone say? Anyone? So if you see in the Gita Mahatmya, yeah, you see this, no? Yeah. Sarvopanishado gavo dogda gopala nandanaha partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdam gitamritam mahat. Yeah. The devotees read the translation.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
All the Upanishads are like a cow, and the milker of the cow is Lord Krishna, the son of Nanda. Arjuna is the cup, the beautiful nectar of the Gita is the milk, and the fortunate devotees of fine taste intellects are the drinkers and enjoyers of that milk. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So again, we see how the Lord himself is employed as because he is the most, ultimately everything comes from him. So he is the one who is ideally to extract the essence of Vedic knowledge, as we'll see here. Essence of Vedic knowledge he will extract. So again, I was just reading about this. No? Kadam Kanan Swami Maharaj, he has given some extract from Sri Jiva Goswami's Tattva Sandarbha. So he has said the different means of acquiring knowledge. Again, if you recall, even in the Ishopanishad, the first, the introduction to Ishopanishad is Prabhupada's talk, I think in Conway Hall in UK. What is the Vedas? What is the Vedas? And there Prabhupada says, what are the different means of acquiring knowledge? No? So how to, like, Srila Jiva Goswami starts from the basic. He says, before even defining what is perfect knowledge, he says, what are the ways we are used to acquire knowledge? So many different ways are there by which in the knowledge we acquire. Just we'll go very, very quickly. He says here, I don't know whether you're able to, big enough, the font is big enough.
Yeah, we can read it.
Yeah, big enough. From the Tattva Sandarbha, he gives some extract and he says various types. So he's saying Arshya. So getting knowledge from a sage or a demigod. Then Upamana. Upamana means we're comparing. By what we know, by using that, we make a estimate of what of getting some other knowledge. Then presumption. We make a presumption. So we presume something is this. Then by using the senses, we say if something is non-existent, that also is knowledge. Knowing that something is non-existent. Then inclusion. That is inclusion. That is thinking the $100 automatically includes $10. No? So if this is there, that means automatically other thing else is there. Then tradition. From tradition we gain knowledge. From various gestures, like in dance, we convey knowledge. Then by direct perception, pratyaksha. Then the last one is the anumana. Anumana is by inference, by deduction, no? By using our deductive skills. We say if this is there, then this is also true. Anumana. And then finally is the shabda. Shabda is the knowledge what we get from hearing. Knowledge what we get from hearing. But out of all this, there is the three main means. The three main means of getting knowledge is like he quotes from this Manu Samhita as well, where he says, what is the sorry. This is Pratyaksham cha Anumanam cha Shastram cha Vivida Gamam Trayam Suviditam Karyam Dharma Suddhi Mama Apsachita. So he's saying if you obtain the correct knowledge, you should be get that from the three main sources: perception, inference, and the Shabda. That is the from various sources. So even Krishna also in the Bhagavatam, he says the four main sources of getting knowledge. Krishna describes in the 11th canto. To Uddhava. What does he say? Pratyaksha. Can any of the devotees read this verse? Yeah.
Pratyaksha, sorry. Pratyakshayena anumanena nigamran atma samvida adiyantavad achas gyatva niha sango vicharet iha.
Thank you. The translation also. So what is the Lord saying? Yeah.
By direct perception, logical deduction, scriptural testimony, and personal realization, one should know that this world has a beginning and end. So, is not the ultimate reality. Thus, one should live in this world without attachment.
So he is telling to Uddhava. That's what nicely he's saying. By direct perception, logical deduction, scriptural testimony, that is Shabda, and personal realization. All the four. Anything which a beginning and end is not real. Anything which has got a beginning and end. And similarly, later in the same canto also, earlier in the canto also, he says this. He includes tradition as well in this. Tradition as well. Can you read this verse? Yeah.
Shruti pratyaksham aityam anumanam cha tushtayam pramaneshvan sthanat vikalpatsa virajate. From the four types of evidence, Vedic knowledge, direct experience, traditional wisdom, and logical induction, one can understand the temporary and substantial situation of the material world which one becomes detached from the duality of
Yes.
this world.
Again, Krishna is saying this, advising to Uddhava. Huh? So these three means. So out of this, the Pratyaksha, then the Anumana, and then the Shabda is there. So, but obviously, we see even the Prabhupada also many times he says this. The four defects we have. Because of the four defects, it's very difficult to depend on Pratyaksha and Anumana, because of our four weaknesses. Again, even in the Adi Leela, these four things are described, the four weaknesses. Again, can one of you read this verse from Adi Leela? Yeah.
Okay. Brahma pramada vipranasha karana apatva. Sorry. Karuna patava isharer vakka nahi dosha eshava.
Thank you. The translation as well. Yeah.
The material defects of mistakes, illusion, cheating, and sensory inefficiency do not exist in the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So these four weaknesses we have. We tend to make mistakes. We get illusion. We tend to cheat. We get cheated. We tend to cheat others. And sensory, our senses are very, very weak. We cannot even see 5 meters ahead. So obviously, with using these things, we cannot get perfect knowledge. So Anumana and this we can rule out. So very nicely, logically, he says Anumana and Pratyaksha we can rule out. So the only thing what remains to get perfect knowledge is Shabda. Shabda is the perfect. It gives us the perfect knowledge. The prominence of Shabda Pramana, what we get from the scriptures. And he's saying the proof of Shabda Pramana is in Shabda only. We cannot, because Shabda is above this, it's above our senses. So using our senses, we cannot give a proof for Shabda. People say, no, oh, what is the proof for Vedas? Using our mundane knowledge, we cannot give a proof for the Vedas because Vedas is above this. So very nicely, Jiva Goswami established the supremacy of Shabda Pramana in the beginning of the Tattva Sandarbha. And then what are the Vedas? Because here we're talking about the Vedic knowledge. So Vedic knowledge, when you see Vedas, I was looking at this definition or the explanation of the Vedas. This particular thing. You see this in this worldhistory.org. So here they says the Vedas are the religious texts. Of course, here they say religion of Hinduism, but it is not related to any Hinduism, but actually related to Sanatan Dharma, eternal order. It's not related to any particular religion, man-made religion. And it is saying it contains the fundamental knowledge relating to the underlying cause and personal response to existence. Underlying cause. So this is the closest meaning I could find of the of Vedas. That is when you look at the general references, and they are considered, he's saying, oldest, if not the oldest religious works. And he's saying, unlike the scriptures of other religions, Vedas are not to have been revealed to a certain person. It is not originated at some point in time, like 1,000 years back. It is always existed, and were apprehended by the sages in deep meditative states. No? We'll see that it is not something which has been created by a human being. It is apaurushaya. Even in the Ishopanishad intro, Srila Prabhupada also says the same thing. When he gives this is the most wonderful thing about Vedas. No? In a short talk, he very nicely gives the teachings of the Vedas here. What are the Vedas? Vedas means anything, any knowledge is Vedas. But he's saying when you say Vedas, it is the original knowledge. All the other knowledge has come from this Vedas. Very nicely, Prabhupada says that. And it's a vast ocean. When we see the Kurma Purana, it is said it is so vast. Vastness is described. Yeah, we see this. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, hope you can see this verse. Let me just Kurma Purana he quotes, Ekavamshiti Vedena Rigvedam Kraman Pura Shakanam tu Shate Naiva Yajurvedam Atha Karot. Samavedam Sahasrena Shakanam Pratibeda Sa Atharvanam Atho Vedam Vibheda Navakena tu. Formerly, the Rig Veda was divided into 21 branches. The Yajur Veda was divided into 100 branches. The Sama Veda was divided into 1000 branches. And Atharva Veda into 9 branches. They are quoted from Kurma Purana. And each branch has 4 subdivisions called Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishad. So all these are part of the Vedas, including the Upanishads. So altogether, the Vedas consist of 1130 Samhitas, 1130 Brahmanas, 1130 Aranyakas, and 1130 Upanishads, a total of 4520. And he says currently only 11 Samhitas are extant. What is currently visible with us to our eyes? 18 Brahmanas, 7 Aranyakas, and 220 Upanishads. So it's a vast ocean. What is available today is only a fraction of what is originally there in the Vedas. Again quoted from the Kurma Purana. And again in the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavatam also we see how it is described how Veda Vyasa, to make it easy for us, he divided the entire Vedas into the 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva Vedas. And also it is said, not only the Vedas, he also compiled the Puranas and the Itihasas to actually elaborate on the Vedas. It is because this is the ancient histories as well. They are very much part of the Puranas, very much part of the Vedas. Again, it's not just the ISKCON people saying this. Even from all the Puranas, also, if you see the various quotes also from Atharva Veda, also it is said. What is written in the Atharva Veda? Richa Samani Chandamsi. I'll just make it bigger. Sorry. Yeah. Puranam Yajusa Saha Uchishta Yagnine Sarve Divi Deva Divi Sitaha. The Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva became manifest from the Lord. It came from the Lord along with the Puranas and all the Devas residing in the heavens. So again, here also he said, he approached the Brihati meter, and thus the Itihasas, Puranas, Gathas, Narasamshis became favorable to him. One who knows this verily becomes a beloved abode of Itihasa, Purana, Gathas, and Narashamsis. So he has quoted so many places where he is saying that it is not just the Rig, Sama, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva, as well as the Itihasas, that is Mahabharata and Ramayana, and as well as all the Puranas, they all manifested from the breathing of the Lord. They are all very much part of the Vedas. So you can see how vast an ocean it is. And it is Apaurushaya. Apaurushaya. It is not a human creation. Because the Lord himself says in the 15th chapter, very, very famous verse. Can one of the devotees chant this? Yeah. Translation of it.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
So the Lord very, very emphatically is saying that he is the source of the Vedas. So it is not from a human being. And it is described in the Bhagavatam also. This is the essential requirement for all the rulers. In this 4th canto, it is said, if the ruler has to rule, then he has to be trained in Vedic knowledge. He cannot just be an untrained person like in the modern times and start ruling the people. The Vedas is essential. Somebody has to rule. And the Vedic society, Prabhupada, again, the same talk in Conway Hall, he says, how do you recognize that something is following the Vedas? Something is, they are knowledgeable the Vedas? He's saying the Varnashrama. When they are following the Daivi Varnashrama, he's saying that is the true significance that they are actually following the Vedic tradition. If the Varnashrama is not being followed, then automatically it's not a Vedic society. It's not a Vedic society. So you can see how exalted this the Vedas is and how it's practically not existing today. Practically not existing today. And this Vedas, it comes down in disciplic succession. It comes down in disciplic succession. As we have seen in the Bhagavatam as well, he says, Tene Brahma Hidam, in the first verse of the Bhagavatam, he says, this was revealed to Brahma by the Lord at the beginning of creation. And again in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord emphasizes this to Arjuna. What does he say? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Manur Ikshva Kave Bravit. So he says, first he revealed this to Vivaswan. Vivaswan revealed it to Manu, and so through the disciplic succession, it is coming down in the line of kings. So it is coming down the disciplic succession. Same thing, the Shvetashtra Upanishad also, it is said how the Lord first revealed this to Brahma and revealed only to suitable persons. The Lord himself says, only to my devotee and friend, I will reveal this. And even in the 7th chapter, he is saying, only the suitable person can understand the Vedas. It's not just a book by which somebody can just read and understand. So can you read this verse?
Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavataha mohoyam madhijanati loko mapajan avyayam.
Translation. Okay.
I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent, but then I am covered by my eternal potency. Therefore, they do not know that I am unborn and unforgotten.
Thank you. So what is the solution then? It's such a vast thing. And then again, I was reading that even before reading the Vedas, we have to master the Vedanga. There are some 6 like grammar and how to chant the verses, all this. And each one requires many years of study, even before you can approach the Vedas. If you have to master all those prerequisites. And to add to all that, Kali Yuga, it is said, Manda Buddhi. We are all very dull-headed. Dull-headed in the Kali Yuga. In the 12th canto, it is said. So can one of the devotees read this verse?
Sri Shuka Uvacha Tatasyanu Dinam Dharma Sattam Shaucham Shamadaya Kalena Balina Rajan Nanakshati Ayurbalam Smriti. Hare Krishna.
The translation as well. Yeah.
Shukdev Goswami said, then, O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali.
Thank you, Prabhu. So what is the Vedic knowledge is so vast like an ocean, and our ability is going on reducing rapidly day by day, and absolutely with our puny intellect, we have no means of even going anywhere near this vast Vedic knowledge. So what is the solution? So then the Lord is so kind that he himself appeared just 500 years back just to teach us the true purpose of the Vedas. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also says the original person, even though he is the oldest person, he appeared just in the form of a human being in the Kali Yuga, just to teach us the process of religion. Even in the Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter, he says Traigunya Vishayo Veda. The Lord says Vedas, yes, it's very vast, but ultimately the Vedas is Traigunya. It is tending to the 3 modes: the goodness, passion, ignorance. Then Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna, he says, rise above the Vedas also. He says, rise above the Vedas. Rise above the Vedas, because this is then only you can attain the true purpose of the Vedas. Then ultimate purpose of knowledge. Ultimate purpose of knowledge, because knowledge we can attain. But what is the ultimate purpose? So again in the Bhagavad Gita also it is Prabhupada quotes this, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kale nakmani vindati. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Transcendental means he's telling transcend the 3 senses. Such knowledge is a mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Automatically, we will gain this knowledge by practicing devotional service, Srila Prabhupada explains. Automatically we'll go even above the Vedic knowledge. We can transcend even the Vedic knowledge by practicing devotional service, what has been taught by Lord Chaitanya. And the most confidential knowledge of the Vedas. The Lord also, he talks about the vast Vedas, and the Vedas itself he has summarized in the Bhagavad Gita into 700 verses. In the 700 verses, he says, I am going to teach you the most sublime essence of the Vedas. In the 9th chapter, he says this. What does he say? The 9th chapter. Can you read? Yeah, can you read?
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te Purvatanam Pravakshamyam Suryave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajnata Moksha Seshubha.
Translation of the.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence.
So he's giving the essence of the essence. The Bhagavad Gita itself is the essence of the Vedic knowledge, and within that he is giving the further essence, most confidential knowledge to relieve us of the miseries of material existence. And we see how everything is contained in this knowledge. Next shloka he says, the what knowledge the Lord is giving, everything is contained in it. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam, Susukham Kartum Avyayam. What does he say? This knowledge is the king of education. King of education, what the Lord is revealing, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge. And because it gives direct perception of the self by realization. Because you remember earlier, Rupa Goswami said, Pratyaksha is not a valid source of getting knowledge in the Tattva Sandarbha. Because Pratyaksha, using our material senses, we cannot depend on it. But here, Lord is saying, just by practicing this devotional service, we actually, using our spiritual senses, we get a direct perception of self. That is, we get the perception, we get the true perception that we are not this body. Automatically we get by practicing this. And it's everlasting and joyfully performed. Then Pratyaksha becomes perfect, even though Pratyaksha is imperfect. And that essence is there in the final chapter. He says how to practice 18.65. No? Because in the 10th chapter he says the 4 verses, the Chatur Shloki, the Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. Yeah, Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. 10.8 to 11. First he says what is it? Relationship between ourselves and the Lord. So even Jiva Goswami, when he starts off with what is knowledge, the ultimate goal is to establish Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. No? So finally, to establish that what comes from the Vedas is the true that gives the essence of our relationship with the Lord. No? That 10.8 he says, no? Aham sarvasya prabhavo. So that we cannot have a material explanation for that. Material explanation. Using our mundane knowledge, we cannot explain how the Lord is a supreme. And then the relationship, how to establish ourselves in a relationship with the Lord by practicing devotional service, and ultimately the prayojana. What is the purpose of doing that? What is the benefit of doing that? The Lord says that He gives us the knowledge by which we can reconnect back to Him. We can reconnect back to Him. And that process so nicely, very simply, Prabhupada also explains. This. The supreme instruction. There is this 18.65. Yeah. The supreme instruction. So just by practicing this, automatically we get all the knowledge. Can one of the devotees read this verse?
Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam vishyashi shattam te pratijane priyo ashime.
Thank you. So he repeats this verse in 2 places, the end of the 9th chapter and towards the end of the 18th chapter.
Yeah.
Can you read this translation as well, Prabhu?
Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So yes, so we can, so just wanted to conclude here, because we're just seeing how Jiva Goswami in the Tattva Sandarbha, he starts with, first he defines what is the various ways of getting knowledge, and then he establishes that how the Shabda is the getting from the hearing from the right source, that is the perfect knowledge, and the Shabda emphasizes, and he says the true essence of the Shabda, what it emphasizes is Sambandha, then Abhideya and Prayojana. In all of the Vedic knowledge, this is the essence. Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. He says this is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada so nicely, he has given us the essence of the essence of the essence. So that we can, without any capabilities, without any intelligence, without any qualification, we can directly practice it. Without even knowing anything, we are able to practice the perfect way of life. And by doing the perfect way of life, we actually pratyaksha, using we are using our spiritual senses, we are able to see our true identity as that we are not this body, and that actually we are a spirit soul connected to Krishna. So that's where I just wanted to conclude, Prabhu, today. Sorry, I just went about time today. Sorry, apologies for that. Yeah. Anybody wants to add anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. What a beautiful surcharge of knowledge by this very morning. You just emphasize the whole series of knowledge gathering and ultimately finished with the three main things: Sambandha, Avidya and Prayojan. And that's how Srila Prabhupada has given us Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the very simple way of connecting all these three in one, in at once. That is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Only by chanting this Maha Mantra, everything falls in place, and we can easily get connected with the Supreme Lord, with His mercy. That's what the purpose of all this knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to? Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. And thank you very much for the very nice class, very informative, very logical way of place the things. And the most important thing about the inconceivable potency of the Lord. With our material senses, we will never be able by speculation, never, whatever is the ability of that person. And we have to go through by taking use of the Shabda Praman, as that is the original knowledge that has come from the Lord. And through the disciplinic succession, we can have access to that pure transcendental knowledge. And only by that way we can know the real truth by which we can also approach the Lord. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the very, very nice class.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. No other comments should be end here.
So, Prabhuji, it appears there is no other. Yeah, so
yeah,
we will conclude the section.
Yes.
Vancha kalpotarubhya
Ananta Koti Vishnu Vrinda ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
jai. His Poshak Madhav Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.